Hi friends, welcome. Today I am going to discuss curve fitting or regression tool, applications to chemical industrial plants and chemical engineering. The contents will briefly discuss about the curve fitting definitions, types, platforms, a little introduction and theoretical aspect of curve fitting, but more will be discussed about the productive perspective of curve fitting in chemical engineering, chemical industrial plants, and in other disciplines. A brief overview will be given. The more detail of each section will be given in later lectures. So we start. The first question regarding to the curve fitting tool, that why industrial and design engineers need to learn curve fitting or regression, or we can say a predictive mathematical modeling tool. And secondly, how lab scale, pilot scale, or commercial scale or self-driven data model can be converted to your plant scale data model and a mathematical representative of your plant. Let us discuss a little about theoretical aspects of curve fitting. A mathematical relationship is defined as symmetric relationship between your selected data points of dependent and independent nature of variables. Or in a more frequent way, it is a convenient conversion of data points or curve to a symmetric mathematical model comprising dependent independent variables in constant coefficients. This is a little bit of definitions. After defining a best fitted function for a dataset or curve, advanced modeling tools become available such as a derivative and integration, rate change, area under curve. After applying curve fitting tool to any curve or data, when we get a mathematical model, we can apply a post-processing techniques. Here is an example of batch crystallizers cooling curve being converted from curve into mathematical model for optimum crystal size. Next is the type of curve fitting techniques based upon mathematical models. One is important type of regression is linear regression, and second one is non-linear regression. In non-linear regression, several types of functions developed by various peoples are applied to given data to estimate the model. In the next section, there is pre-processing of curve fitting and platforms. And this is about how can we convert a curve to a mathematical model, and this will be discussed in detail in later lectures. Here is assume that most of people know how can we fit a curve to a mathematical model. Various platforms can be used. One of the important and most prominent is the Microsoft Excel, MATLAB, Python, Sigmaplot, and much more platforms are available in softwares. The next one is a post-processing technique applied to curve-fitted mathematical model. The first one is interpolation to find unknown values of two set points. If we not know the value between 2 points, and from experimental data we can find by curve-fitted mathematical model in an easy way. Next is extrapolation or prediction or forecasting of future. If we assume that a given system will proceed in this at the same analogy, then we can extrapolate the given data using mathematical model. Then the estimating confidence intervals, very important concept in the statistics. And the integration between limits or without limits. We can integrate a given mathematical model extracted from curve fitting tools. We can derivate. We can take derivative in finite, differential, infinite differential, and we can convert into differential equations. Here is one of the important questions: why we do it? Where can we apply these theoretical concepts for a useful purpose? The one answer is applications in chemical plants and equipment, and other are theoretical applications for various types of process design and calculation. Here some of them are given. One of them is analysis, to perform quick analysis of some type of experimental data and to find the values. Those are based in between experimental data points and interpolation, calculation. Any value can be found out from data of both dependent and independent variable and can be used in process calculation with much ease and efficiency. Extracted model can be written in the form of software Excel spreadsheet for performing better calculations instead of reading graphs. Then the application extracted mathematical model can be used in programming for processing equipment and machines to exhibit predefined behavior from lab scale to plant scale. These are some of the practical and theoretical applications of curve fitting tools. Here is the various steps by which we can convert an experimental or self-driven data to a curve fitted mathematical model. Let we discuss these steps one by one. Experimental data can be collected from lab for a specific process, as in previous example we have discussed a cooling process for a batch cooling crystallizers for a specific type of crystals and shape and size and distribution. Or sometimes data can be collected a previously operated commercial scale plant or some type of equipment from that commercial scale plant to apply the trend of that equipment to another new equipment. The data can be extracted from a pilot scale model, or it can be self-driven data. After selecting or extracting data, curve fitted mathematical model can be obtained by various techniques of curve fitting. In third step, after obtaining mathematical model, the mathematical model can be converted to engineering algorithm. Some empirical changes or editing can be made based upon experimental observation. Mathematical model is subjected to integration or derivation to obtain desired type of differential or integral equation for control purpose and desired response. In this way, a mathematical model obtained from a curve fitted data can be converted to an engineering algorithm. In the next subsequent step, when engineering algorithm is proposed, the software can be written for finished mathematical model in various programming languages and then in assembly languages to embed in the hardware memory. When software of a given model and related control hardware is combined with process equipment, then it is converted to plant algorithm. Now in this way, we have employed a curve-fitted mathematical model to gain desired control of plant and product parameters. Let we take an example of batch cooling crystallizer and curve-fitted tool in automotive control of the crystallizers. Here is a batch cooling crystallizers provided with helical cooling coil and necessary inlet and outlet. In the crystallizer, a hard saturated solution of some type of mineral solution such as a calcium chloride and magnesium sulfate is fed to helical coil batch cooled crystallizer with hot and cold water circulation system. A specified cooling curve has been developed keeping in view optimum crystal size distribution and desired shape, keeping constant and variable to a specified level by experiments in lab. The data for the control of this crystallizer has been extracted from lab. The data extracted from lab is converted to mathematical model by curve fitting tool as shown in the figure. For this cooling curve, the required mathematical model is given. Here is Y is the temperature of saturated solution and X is the time. Our objective is that cooling of saturated solution should follow the curve pattern at which desired crystal size distribution is attained. How can controller read this cooling curve and take time as input variable and decide to attain the temperature by giving signal to hot and cool water circulation system to a temperature at that time? For controller, it seems to be a difficult task, apparently, and what if we want to change the cooling curve pattern for another crystal size distribution and shape, then what will happen? This is not simply possible, but in one way it is become possible if we convert this curve to a mathematical equation by curve fitting tool. A mathematical model can easily convert it to software, then to machine code to embed in the controller hardware and memory. If we do this, then the controller will take time as input from clock or timer and will calculate set point at that time by mathematical operation for which equation it is programmed. Controller will confirm set point at that time and then compare the temperature of the solution and find the error. It will find difference between the set point and the temperature of the solution kept in vessel, and then it will take action to take that temperature of solution at the desired set point, and it will activate the auxiliary cooling or heating system attached to the process equipment. In this way, whole crystallized system will proceed according to given cooling pattern or curve, and we can say that our crystallizer is controlled, not uncontrolled, program controlled. If controller is programmed in modular way, then that can be easily reprogrammed for new equation and executed. This will provide a greater flexibility, automated control, desired quality of production and research and development, ease of plant operation and much more. These are the several steps by which we can use a curve-fitted mathematical model to control a process equipment and quality of a product at commercial scale. The data and model can be developed at lab scale, then it can be applied at larger commercial scale. This detail of the steps, all these steps, one by one, will be provided in the next contents. Here is some example of operation and process from chemical industry. One example may be programmed cooling using curve-fitted mathematical model, as in pharmaceutical industry when we need fine crystals and fine chemicals. Programmed heating curve-fitted mathematical model, simultaneous heating and cooling, desired control of rate of reaction of a chemical process of endothermic and exothermic chemical process. The process involved are programmed cooling crystallizers. Crystallization is number one unit operation that can be employed using a curve-fitted mathematical model with the help of controller hardware and other necessary equipment. Annealing process in steel industry to control various material properties for aviation and some advanced industry. Program drying of product for particular quality, distribution of temperature over time for specific physical texture of the product. In chemical reaction engineering and rate control to exhibit some special properties of product and to modify and enhance overall efficiency of reactor and auxiliary equipment. Okay, coming up next, all previously discussed topic and points will be discussed in more detail one by one. Software, hardware configuration, and the integration with the chemical plant and equipment in the further lectures. And also we will discuss a detail of curve fitting and various types and their application. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe Chemical Engineering Industrial Academy, like, share.